Hello. Hi there.
Hello.
Hello. So you're back safe in Gothenburg?
Yes. Yes, and you too, I see.
Yes. Back in my home office. See who else joins.
Hello.
Yep.
Hello, Andrea. How is your neck nowadays? Is it better? You can turn your
Yes,
head.
thank you.
Whoa. I actually got something last night. Maybe I got it
Oh
from you. I don't
no.
know. It's a bit in that direction. It's a bit stiff. Wait.
Have a
Okay.
good trip home.
Yeah, it was good. I was home at midnight Friday evening. It was okay. The plane was delayed half an hour, I think, due to bad weather in Amsterdam, actually. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I saw you had some time with colleagues on Saturday as well. Was it breakfast or lunch, or was it?
yeah, it was breakfast or brunch.
Brunch, yeah.
We met at 9:30 for breakfast. This place said it would open at 9:30, but at 9:30 they started to open the door, and eventually by 10:10 they had the tables ready for people to
Okay,
sit.
took some time. So you were quite starving on this.
Really relaxed. Yeah.
Okay.
Spanish
Okay.
style.
Yeah. Okay. I guess it's time to get started, even though we are not too many here yet. I just prepared the template more or less, or not even really the template, but you added something. I see. It's good, Andrea. Yeah, the photos, good. I don't know if we should just see in the last meeting minutes there if there was something. This is done now, so we don't need to keep that action, I guess. SIG Events Con has passed, so there are no actions left to prepare for SIG Events Con. Contributor Summit, we didn't note any actual actions here. Nothing else. So there are no real outstanding actions as I see it, at least. Then launch of the SIG Events project. Yeah, as you saw on the May 17th, I guess we were notified, right? Just after the SIG Events Con that there was an announcement made. So it's out there. It was some uncertainties on when it should get out. Hi, Kara. Welcome. So when you hear us, Kara, and when we hear you, I guess we can.
Yes, hello.
Yes, good. We just started to talk about the announcement of the project, the event project.
Yes.
Yes. We were a bit, well, I wasn't really up to date on when we decided to have it, even though it was just a few days before we decided it, I guess. But we were notified just when SIG Events finished that the announcement was made. And I guess it was done morning time in the US, which was then afternoon in Europe where we were at the time. So we didn't really have time to announce it during the SIG Events conference itself.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the whole marketing aspect of it all is quite new because it's not a project that we're launching right now. This has been a CDF project for a couple months now. So that's an interesting phrasing that was used. And then also my understanding was that we would be focusing the launch, as it were, around CDCon. So yeah, I guess I could say that I'm not controlling this process and I'm learning as we go. But that being said, I think it went well. I think SIG Events Con was amazing. So congratulations to everyone who was there. I'm very sad that I wasn't there with you all. Yeah, that I am sorry if it caught you unawares. I imagine we're going to be continuing to push all the way up through CDCon, and we certainly want your involvement as much as possible in that process.
Of course, yeah. No problem. So yeah, what have the reactions been to the announcement? Has there been? I'm not myself active on Twitter at all, so I haven't really seen there, and I haven't really seen in other places too much either. Has there been some reactions on the launching, or?
Yeah, I think the reactions have been positive, but what in effect I would think drummed up even more attention was SIG Events Con itself. I think that went extremely well, and the talks were excellent. So yeah, I think because it's such a it's actually such a technical thing. It's actually a little bit difficult to get. I think it's best handled with conference talks in many ways. I think it's going to appeal more to developers than other groups. So my impression is probably we need to do continual communication to other areas of the business on why this is interesting for them and why they should be keeping an eye on it, why they should be considering adopting it. I think it's more immediately evident to developers why this is exciting, why this is important, what it can do for them.
Yeah, the developers and maybe systems people or system architects or whatever, I mean, more overall structuring their CI/CD systems more than specific tool developers maybe, but anyway, yeah. But it's good.
On that, Cara, one of the things that we were chatting about with Fatih and Emil during the conference was that it might make sense to write a white paper that communicates the value of SIG events to a more kind of business-oriented type of audience or architect type of audience. I hope I'm recording it right, but that's, I think, the
executive summary, I guess.
Yeah, so that's what other projects have done. Also, like Cloud Event itself, they have a white paper they started with to kind of, you know, express why this is needed and what is the advantage of having that. And maybe that's something that yeah, would be good for us as well to write down. And yeah, we may need some support to, you know, for the writing side of things. So from someone who has experience in conveying this this message to the right audience.
Yes, I think a white paper is a very good idea, and it's a very good way of sort of building a bridge from system developers and developers themselves to other sides of the business. I think that's a really excellent way forward. So for the white paper itself, I mean, I've read them. Interestingly enough, I tend to read them more on GitHub than anywhere else, which is maybe not the ultimate end location for them, but they're always up on GitHub in pretty complete forms, like the security white paper, things like that. Are you all happy working it up as a SIG and working on GitHub and working collaboratively that way? And then we can have an editor go over it. Is that what you were thinking of for the process?
GitHub or Google Docs or whatever. Yes, works fine.
Sorry, Emil, what was that sentence? Or
Google Docs. I mean,
Google Docs. Okay.
what's I guess it's easier to update on the fly in Google Docs, of course. So when you're actively working on something and collaborating, it might be easier in Docs.
That sounds good. Whatever process works for you all.
I do agree on like putting it together as a SIG, and then if you can get some editorial support, yeah, that would be great.
Sounds good.
So should we start on the white paper ourselves, or should we have someone else just set up the skeleton for it, or somehow? Does anyone here have any good ideas on how to structure it?
I would personally just steal someone else's white paper and borrow the skeleton from there. We can look at the cloud events white paper and see how that is laid out, so to say.
Just to copy replace cloud events and SIG events.
Maybe slightly more work than that, but starting point, that would be good.
Of course.
Yeah, we know that the cloud events bunch, so I don't think they will be affected.
Okay, so is anyone volunteering to start it off then, or Kara, was that so that you wanted to start it, or Eric maybe?
I was going to say, if I'm to do it, then it would have to be after CDCon, so I can get the presentation worked out first.
Yeah. And maybe that's enough anyway, or well, it won't be finished before CDCon anyway, even though we've started now, I'm afraid. It would be good maybe to announce it there, but if we don't think we can anyway finish it before that, we can anyway just do it afterwards. Or
yeah, we could say that we're working on a white paper at CDCon. That might be good.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't have too much time before CDCon either, but it would be good to start as soon as possible, so we can at least mention that we're working on it and get
So maybe what we need to do is just get an outline for it, like the high level chapter sections, and get a shared Google Doc, and then we can just collaborate on it. And we'll see where it takes us. Do we know kind of what the sections should be? Do we have an idea of what that framework looks like?
Not yet, but I think it's a good idea, Tracy. So, yeah.
Do we want to do that right now and just go ahead and think about how, are we talking about like a 3-pager? I think that's generally what we try to do, a 5-page or something more involved.
Could we bring up the SIG Events one? Does anyone have a good link to it? You could use. We could spend 5-10 minutes on it now. I think that could be worth it.
I think it'd be a good idea. They at least get us started and have a shared doc that we can start looking at and thinking about. I'm going to pull up, let me look at my last white paper and see how I structured it. Where did I put it? My last one, 22. Okay. Here, I'll quickly just, let me just share my screen and we'll just go over.
Good.
Yeah, go ahead. If you can let me share my screen.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Share screen. You have to stop sharing.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. It's all right. It's okay.
Yeah.
Share screen now. Okay. All right. So here's my so this one I bring this one up because I did this one on comparing other catalogs. So it's sort of a market comparison. I defined what it was. So maybe we need to have something like what is CD events, something high level. And then in this one, I defined who the users of the catalogs were. I don't know if we need to define it at that level. But then I did a topic on evaluating, how to evaluate a catalog. And then areas that I thought were specifically interesting of what catalogs should be producing. And then I did a comparison. Some other ones that I've done, if I go to that directory again. Just blast radius one. This was a more technical discussion. I still started with a definition. So maybe the first thing we do is what is CD events? And then this one, I said, what's new in the SCM area, how blast radius changes in a microservice environment. So I try to, at this one, I try to identify some of the problems that, where I kind of identify the problems of why we would go to a CD, why we would change a CD pipeline to be built off of a listener and events. And then I went through and said how we did it, kind of how we managed the blast radius. And then a conclusion. So these are all fairly short. They're probably 5 pages with pictures. I don't know what you guys are thinking in terms of length.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't have more than 5 pages. That's, I mean, I saw the link you pasted there, Andrea, to the serverless white paper, and it's huge. That would take forever.
Yeah.
More or less, with our limited resources to put together.
Yeah, so I think we have to figure out what's a happy medium, because it would be nice to get something together, and that's not saying that we don't continue working on it after CDCon, but it would, I feel like if we could get something out there, it would be important. So what is CD events, I think, is the most important one.
And who is it relevant for, and what is it? What and who is it relevant for?
Okay. Okay, I'll just make it like this is going to be a document that we could turn over. So we'll just do these as for now as. I think we should do a section on the architecture.
Yes.
I think we should do probably up top here. Probably here is what specific problems does CD events address? I have a Band-Aid on my finger, so I'm just taking it forever to type.
In line with that, do we want to have a section that is a little bit of history of what this has grown out of and why this has happened, you know, why this has grown out? Like what are the specific goals of this other than cloud events, that sort of thing, which leads exactly into that, what specific problems.
Would that be okay to put it under the problem area?
Yeah.
Any other high-level topics that we'd want to cover?
Does like
Yeah.
how to take the next steps for readers, does that go under a white paper? Is that something you have outside of that? Or maybe that's the conclusion, how to take the next steps.
I'll say your next steps.
Something like a call to action as well,
Yep.
or
I think we should put in here somewhere as well, intro to CD events, SIG or project. I don't know what we're calling it anymore. I'm gonna just put project down here. So I feel like if we could get this much done, and we can always grow it, you know, we can continue working on it and have it become more technical and add parts to it. But I feel like if we could get at least this much, it would be, I think it would be super helpful for the people that, I think we should have something for CDCon if we can pull it together, even if it's only a 3 or 4 page document to start. Share this with. Share it with Steve. Who else should I share this with, you guys?
you share it with
Am I
Matthias, maybe?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he might be able to join. You can use my Ericsson address instead of my Gmail address though, if you're able to. I try to use my work address more than the private one.
Oh, okay. I don't think I have
I think you
that.
have it as well. But I don't know. I think you do, don't you? ML.
Oh, there you are.
There you are. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Thanks.
Okay, that outline now everybody should have access to.
Perfect.
So why don't we just start collaborating on this and see where we can how far we can get.
I think some headings here could be filled out with a condensed version of your presentation, Andrea and Eric from FOSDEM and from earlier, right? The background and those things.
Yeah, there should be some content that can at least be dumped in to start with and rework from there. We were quite good with noting down our notes, so to say, writing our notes in the presentation, so there can be copy paste from that.
That's good. But what is now the intended audience? Who should we write for? What kind of people should be able to read this and understand it? Not developers, then I guess. It's more high level. Is it
I would
managers
say,
or architects or?
Yeah, I don't think we need to address developers in particular, but I would say we want to address DevOps engineers and managers, maybe architects. And we might go up to a director level if they're looking at having to revamp how they're, I mean, I think our biggest challenge here in terms of adoption, and maybe we should have a discussion on that. Challenges in adoption, because we should address it. I think the biggest challenge that we have is in the adoption area is that people are facing the fact that their old pipelines are getting kind of long on the tooth, and they're going to have to address it. And this can be a kind of a daunting task. And I feel like that we should have a discussion about that. So up here, really understanding the benefits, and that's probably what should be intro to CD events. This should say, we should have the clear benefit statement here. And reasons to move. away from traditional models. I think that we have to sell to the higher level for them to really discuss getting budgeting to make that kind of move.
Mm.
So we might even want to be at as high as that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I guess we should leave it there for today. But I think we have a good start. Do we believe that people will start collaborating here now, or will nothing happen in 2 weeks?
Yes, if somebody can dump our kind of our high level topics from the presentation in here, I'm happy to start. I'm happy to work on this.
That I can do that tonight. That should be fine. Just to
Okay.
take its starting step there.
I have some time tomorrow. I can put some time into it. I'm going to Swamp Up, but I don't have any anything scheduled, so maybe I'll go hang out by the pool and work on this.
Whoa, that's good.
Yeah, it's in Carlsbad. It's in like San Diego.
Yeah.
Steve has some classes he's teaching, but I don't have anything to do, so
Wow, perfect.
I'm going for the ride.
That's good. Okay, so let's go on then. I'll start sharing again. We have some other topics to cover today, so let's take it on. Maybe we should switch this now so we don't forget to prepare for the SIG Events community meeting and the CDCon before we talk about SIG Events Con takeaways. I think we can talk about that forever. Because I want to give the opportunity now for everyone to contribute and help out on the preparations for CDCon and SIG Events community meeting. Maybe Andrea, what are the pain points or the burning tasks you think we need to bring up?
Yeah, one thing for sure is the virtual platform. How is that going to work? So for SIG Events Con, we had one Zoom account that Emily provided and managed. I don't know if you can use Zoom account and who can manage the virtual, or if we have someone who can help us manage the virtual platform, or we can do it ourselves. Yeah, so that's for sure something we need to clarify. And the other thing is, yeah, it's 3 hours, so I guess we can have a quick introduction in the beginning, and maybe we have a few topics lined out in the document. I don't know, we could say, okay, who's interested in discussing these, and go into breakout room, and there's some discussions on the different topics. That's the way I can imagine the event would work, but I guess we need to finalize really what we want to do, if this sounds okay to folks, or do we want to have some sessions prepared in advance, and then maybe just pick 2 or 3 and say, okay, someone is taking ownership of this session and prepare something in advance, and then we discuss it during the event, or a group of people. It doesn't have to be one.
Maybe if someone has the bandwidth to prepare, it would probably be more effective or efficient if we had some prepared discussions, which we could just more easily or quickly settle on the outcome from, instead of fumbling around just on some topics here. One day will be that we divide the 3 hours into first 1 hour of specific questions, maybe in different rooms, and then join everyone in the whole group after that to discuss openly whatever question comes up. Maybe. But it's just 3 hours, but anyway, it is 3 hours. We need to spend them wisely, I think. So I see kind of a risk if we just have 3 hours very open to and we should start discussing what to talk about. Then we could talk about that half an hour before we actually get into the actual discussions. But at the same time, I don't have any good ideas on exactly how to structure it or organize it.
Sure.
I guess we could find specific pull requests or something like that, or specific topics from this list that we could bring up for the breakout discussions. But at the same time, of course, it could also be so that the same people might be interested in more than one of those topics. So it's hard to choose.
Right. I mean, one alternative is to pick like 3 topics and have like 45-minute sessions on these 3 topics, which leaves some time for having like a introduction at the beginning and a wrap up at the end. And then everyone can join those all topics. We don't have to select. Yeah, for me personally, I think there are some like architecture level discussion would be good. It would be a good place to have those. Like, for instance, what we started discussing about the type of event that we want to use to support kind of orchestration style of scenarios where we have events that are sent by an orchestrator to tell the other platform to do something, or do we want to have like more like choreography type of events or a combination of the two? And if we support 2, how do we want to handle this in the protocol? Another topic that would be interesting for me to discuss from an architecture point of view is that of links and storing of events. Do we want the event to be supported when we have like a global storage of received events or not, and how links would work in both cases? And I think a third aspect from a general architecture point of view that would be interesting for me to discuss is, does it make sense to have like what I think Tracy was advocating from already some time, is like a common listener that could work based on policies to like to receive CD events and help like taking actions based on CD events, like so something like the trigger components in Tecton, if you're familiar with it, something that can receive events and where you can specify certain rules and say, okay, if these events matches certain condition, then run this pipeline, build this artifact, send a notification or whatever. I mean, and there are some components already out there that do some part of this job. So I think it would be good to understand what is our stance from a CD events point of view. Do we want to rely on external components? Do we want to have something CD events custom, or something that makes it easier for people to start using CD events, basically? I think in my mind, these are the 3 most pressing things to clarify, like at architecture point of view.
Yeah, but let's pick those 3 then as an initial thought on the agenda. And I think when I think of it more, I think it's not right now worthwhile maybe breaking up in smaller groups, since we are not that many yet. So and anyway, so the same people might want to or need to be in all those groups more or less, and then it doesn't make sense to break it up. So I think it's a good idea to actually have 3 specific topics, 1 hour each, with start and end and so on. But on this document, I think I'm sharing. Yeah. Should we bring those up to the top and then just suggest that we work on those, unless anyone else has some other idea on what to bring up? Do we know how many people will come to the virtual CD events contributor summits? Have we got any? Do we have RSVP out, by the way? Have I answered? I don't know.
No, we don't. That's a very good point. It would be good to. I mean, we made a Google form some time ago to see if people would be interested into joining. But we could make an RSVP. I think for so for SIG Events Con, the RSVP for the virtual event was through the Zoom platform. So there was a link provided through the Zoom. I don't know if is there, do you know, Kari, can we know from CDCon who is registered to the in-person event? Is that, it's something, we don't know really, right? Because there's just one registration for all the co-located event, all the summits, I think.
Yes, that's correct. And then for all the summits, for the virtual component, what we have essentially left it up to is for the communities themselves to decide how they want to organize that virtual, but I can help you with the Zoom. So it's a little bit different than the co-located event at KubeCon. It's a little more community run and focused, from my understanding for the events team, how they want that to go forward. But it would be very much in your interest to have an RSVP and a link that's really easy to get to, and then we'll just have to communicate that out into the community.
So we should make an RSVP then for either format of attendance, and maybe ask to specify which if people is going to be plan to be in person or remotely, so we have an idea.
Yeah,
Right.
I think especially for the virtual, because you want people to be aware that the option exists and how to access it and to plan for that in advance. I think for the in-person, the information on that is out there. So unless you really need to budget for attendees, which, I mean, you can ask them to fill out a form, but it is just an additional ask for them to do. And that doesn't, people will sign up for all sorts of things. It's just how it is, especially. So I think your main concern is making sure that the virtual attendees know how to join and know that the event is happening and that they can join.
Okay, so basically we need to generate the kind of the webinar URL with the RSVP link, so we can start promoting it, right?
Yeah, are you able to do that through Bevy? Do you all have access to the Bevy platform to set up?
Yeah, we could use Bevy. Yeah, actually, that's a good idea. Yeah, because for this kind of event, I'm just not sure. Sorry, with the Bevy platform, is there a limit in the number of presenters? So if can we make a session where everyone who is in the Bevy platform can interact, or is there going to be like a limited number of speakers and everyone else listens to?
I think it's limited, but it's a quite a high limit, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, when me and Emil looked at it, at least there were two settings, if I recall correctly. One was it limits to 50 people, but everyone can be a presenter, and the other one is you select a bunch of presenters. But it might be possible for the moderators of the event to set anyone as a presenter after the fact. It's just if you automatically make people a presenter, then the limit is 50 people, if I remember correctly.
Right. Okay.
Should we do it right away? Or maybe it's better if you do it, Andrea, since you will be there in person, maybe. If you can manage it from there, I think would be better.
Yep. Okay, sure. Do this today.
Should I stop sharing? You can take over, or will you do it right now, or will you do it later?
Oh,
Maybe it takes too much time to do it online.
yeah, maybe I can do it later. Maybe we can use the time to discuss.
Maybe it's better to, but I think there's, as Eric said, there is an option to have two different types of events somehow, and we should choose the one that suits best. I don't know how many would we dare to think could come. I mean, how many would we expect? Is it like 10 people or 100 people on such a contributor summit? I don't think 100, right?
No,
I
probably
think.
not. I'm sorry, go on, Andrea.
Go ahead, Kara, sorry.
No, I was just going to say likely not 100 because among other things, it's on the Friday, which was asked for because we didn't want to overlap with Jenkins or Tekton. So I would think more on the level of a dozen or two is my guess, and then more virtually. Does that sound in line with what you were going to say, Andrea?
Yeah. So I was just going to say that for the form, it was maybe only 5 of us who replied. So I mean, I hope we can get maybe a bit more. But yeah, in any case, even if we get like 5 or 6 people from the community in the meeting, and we can discuss this topic, and we have like the 3 hours of time to go in details and discussion of this topic, that would be, I would consider it successful. Would be very happy with that.
Yeah, I agree. So what action should we take now then? Here, should we add something to the notes?
So I think.
Sorry, for the questions that we aim to bring to the summit, I think it would be good to assign those questions to a person who is responsible for preparing a little bit, so that we don't go in blind and start looking up the GitHub discussions and stuff.
Yeah.
So which, you mentioned those 3, Andrea. One was this about the links or references and storage. Or the other, and prescriptive and descriptive for sure, as well. What was the third one you said? Is that one of the things above?
The third one was about a listener, and how to, maybe we could frame it, how to easily integrate with tools from a receiving point of view, right? Because I think there are two aspects of that we need to consider in the architecture. One is the sending events, and the other one is the receiving events. I guess it depends on the use case. I mean, if you look at the use case of like collecting data for generating metrics, the receiving part is maybe less relevant. But if you're looking at like orchestration and or choreography of different platforms, then the receiving part is critical.
Do we have a pull request for that? Or an issue?
Don't believe we have. Can try to get Mauricio involved as well, because he said he was interested in this community summit, and I think while working on with Ishan on the Knative with cross-plane demo that they did, he was also facing this issue specifically. So
from my understanding, they've created in which they've created an operator to handle this problem. So what would we be thinking of for CD events? Like, what would this? Yeah, what would we be using? Would this be something that then interfaced with operators, a similar type of operator, or would it, and then other things that weren't as cloud native? Like, is this just an interface for other ways of having this network? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm not sure. So I think that the idea is that if you're receiving events and you want to take decisions based on the content of the event to do some actions in a platform, it's a kind of some part of it is going to be common across platforms. So one possibility is that we provide just kind of an SDK, like reply to and say, maybe provide some examples of how platform can implement, use this SDK to implement this. Another option could be to provide an actual component that people could run next to their platform or next to the tool, and have then maybe as a kind of plugin mechanism to say, okay, start Jenkins pipelines or Spinnaker or Tecton or whatever. I'm not sure what this is going to be like, but that's pretty much the topic I would like to discuss during the summit, to clarify how this is, what we think about this.
So it's more of what would an event-aware architecture look like, or when it comes to event listeners, maybe, especially.
Yeah, basically, like that. If someone say, okay, I want to implement CD events for my project, I want to be able to receive CD events, what is the recommended path to do that? And that we have a good answer to that.
So, conscious about the time is running. We have these 3 topics very shortly described here. We probably need to describe it in more words. As Eric said, should we appoint someone on each of these to clarify them and to flesh out them a bit, so that we have someone maybe responsible for bringing up the topic and more or less leading, maybe not leading the discussion, but at least starting it.
Yeah, I think it would be good to have like a facilitator for each topic and preparation in advance. And I can try to, for sure, work on the third one.
So this one about links.
I meant the event receiver.
The middle one. Yeah, that.
Yeah, I can try to expand a bit on that. What I mean.
Should we do it like this? Then let's see. I could probably take the third one about links there, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Since I've had some discussions on that already.
Then I can take the third one, or the first one.
The first one, yeah.
Versus descriptive.
Yeah, good. So then we have names on them, and we should then, let's see what we added here then.
So what we used to do in OpenStack for this kind of technical or design discussions, when we had this like community meetings, was basically have like something equivalent of an ACND or like a collaborative document, one for each session. So with the name of the facilitator, and then even before the session, other folks can add, start adding, but usually there is one facilitator that prepares kind of the points for the discussion, and then during the session people can interactively add more content, and there is online discussion basically.
So is this what you more or less said, or yeah? Is this a preparation we need to do then? Or did I miss something? Misunderstood it?
No, sounds good.
So we said we should use Bevy here then as a virtual platform for. Was that correct, or should we have? I guess it will be a Zoom meeting or Bevy meeting for the actual virtual attendees. I guess if there's a Bevy event created, we can still link a Zoom meeting to it if we like. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know, is there any advantage in using a Zoom meeting as opposed to a Bevy meeting?
I don't know. I don't think there are really. I mean, oh, now we are just reminded that I haven't yet uploaded the the videos from the last Bevy meeting we had, which I should have done a long time ago. But that's possible to do anyway. We get the videos. We don't get them for free, of course, to YouTube, but we don't do it with Zoom either. So yet, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I will try to set up the invite today, so we can start sharing the link and get an idea of who's going to be there.
Yeah. And make sure to set the RSVP for the Bevy meeting then ending just after the summit has ended, so that we can allow people to join even though they come directly to the meeting. Otherwise, it will be closed. Okay. Anything else about the community meeting then? Or maybe about SIGCon itself? Kara, is everything set up for the SIGCon, or anything we need to take care of there?
No. We're excited to, have you participate in SIGCon, either in person or virtually. That's pretty much all you from your end. We don't need it.
Yeah, no further preparations unless we have a presentation.
Is there any booth or area for maintainers, the SIGs, representative or things like that at the SIGCon?
Yes, actually, we in addition to the contributor summits, we do have a demo theater, which can if you wanted to do a demo or and have a moment. Also near there, we'll have lots of stickers, so that's where kind of like the stickers are going to go. That's a little bit different than an actual booth. I don't think we'll have actual booths for the projects, but in that area there will be all the stickers. And if you are interested in doing some sort of small presentation at the demo theater, let me know. Just ping me.
That's just physical, and I guess there's no virtual cast from that, or
no, there's no filming set up for that area.
Yep.
When it comes to audio in the summit, if we want to get room audio, does anyone have some sort of like conference telephone, or will there be something like that available, or do we need to bring one?
Yeah, all the rooms for the contributor summits have audio and visual set up for remote participation.
Excellent.
Good. Excellent.
Okay, so I'm not sure how much time we can spend on the remaining items. By the way, Andrea, are you pleased with the preparations for CDCon and SIG Events Summit now?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Great.
So the takeaways, I don't know, very quickly. I think it was successful, just as people have said before. There were quite a few there. Haven't really got the numbers confirmed, but I think, was it 70 people that actually registered physically to the event? Do you remember, Andrea? Emily said something about, I think it was 70 physically, and then it was like 40 people joining online in total. So quite some people anyway. And we got to give away quite a lot of stickers. Yeah, so the presentations, I just created a pull request for uploading the presentations for SIG Events Con. I provided my own presentation in that pull request, and then the folder will be there after that. So if you're able to and haven't done yet, you can approve the pull request, or we can just merge it, I guess. Then Andrea has provided a link to photos. That's great. How do we do about contributing our own photos there, Andrea?
Yeah, or either you send them to me, or I can make you a contributor to the album if you tell me that you want to add photos.
Okay, so we can add them ourselves if you just allow us.
Yeah, yeah, I think maybe that's easier.
There are quite a few photos here. That's nice. But you can add me then, Andrea, because I have some photos I'm quite sure that I can add. So please add me then.
Sure. Is that your Ericsson?
My Ericsson address. My Ericsson address, I believe. Should work.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Good. Just note that as well here.
Will we get video recordings from the events? Like the presentations and stuff?
Yes, I need to reach out to Emily to ask her when that's going to happen, but yes, everything has been recorded, so we're planning on doing a playlist in YouTube.
Nice.
What about this point, Andrea, the Twitter and LinkedIn social point? What did you intend?
No, that's yeah, I mean, if anyone has photos or wrap up, we may write if you have photos or comments that you would like to share about the event as a wrap up on LinkedIn or Twitter, I think that's good too.
It would actually be nice to publish a blog summary of the event itself. But that's also something we need to spend time on, then, unfortunately. I'm afraid Emily don't do that for us. It's very good.
Yeah, I was planning on trying to writing something like that. So
would be great.
Yeah, Kara suggested that.
Yeah. I feel like you've done so much work with this, but yes, I've already asked Andrea to write one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I just wrote and yeah, we have the Open Source Summit EU. Yeah, so the CFP closes on May 30th. I think it would be good if we could be there as well. So it's just a shout out to everyone. Please provide presentations. I will try to provide one. I'm not sure I can manage. It's just 1 week away. Then I just wrote we should start some GANs quite soon, maybe after the summer. I don't know. Maybe we can talk about it on the CDCon as well, or the SIG Events meetup. That we should start setting up a proper governance of the project, I think, with governance board and I mean whatever needed for the project. and discuss what is the relationship between the SIG and the project and those things. But not today, of course. Okay, that's all for today. Thanks for joining, and let's meet in Silicon unless we meet earlier.
Quick question: Do we have
Yes.
the meeting in 2 weeks? It's Monday. It's technically just before Silicon. Do we have that SIG Events meeting, or do we cancel it?
Good question. And it's also holiday in Sweden. 6th of June. I
right.
probably will be able to join. And CDCon is coming up, so we might cancel it. But let's discuss it on Slack. But I think we can cancel it maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.